Well, thank you. My name is Louis Luengasar, and I'm in faculty at the Department of Industrial Engineering. I'd like to thank you for joining us for this panel discussion. This panel discussion is going to be a little bit different. We're talking about more the practical aspects of introducing DC power. I'm in the engineering school, and as we wind down the end of the year, we talk to I talk to our students who are working with companies about the projects we're looking at. And one of the things I comment about them is that these are not, as we put it, these are not greenfield projects they're working in. We're working in settings that companies have been in operation. They have been successful, at least to some extent before that. And they can't discount the fact that they're in places that have been working and functional as they go into these projects. And similarly here, in a setting like this where, again, we have this noble desire to use our abilities and knowledge to do good, but we are going to communities that are functional in some form, okay? We might be at the base of the pyramid, but it's not nothing. And so we have to talk about what is it that motivates these communities to take on, to use the things that we're bringing in, and to use it in their own ways. Napoleon once said that the moral was to the physical as 3 is to 1. And so this panel is really about the moral part of it, the human factor of this. So as we go into this, we'd like to thank the University of Pittsburgh Year of Humanities Project for sponsoring this. And we have 4 speakers. Dr. Stephanie Boddie is based here in Homewood. Okay. Rustam Sanguta is based in India, and is running a company there. He'll be introducing more about his company later. Michael Atlin is in the political science department here, working with Rustam. And then Jen Murta
It's okay, I can't.
Murta Shavili has done a lot of work in Central Asia. And so, if Stephanie?
Well, there was an incredible amount of overlap, so I may be whizzing through my slides,
Okay. Let's see. Just so you know, what they're going to do is a short amount of prepared remarks, and then we'll go into open panel discussion for the majority of the period.
So I want to start out by saying that I moved to Pittsburgh about 4 years ago, and I moved to Homewood. So I've lived in Homewood for a little over 3.5 years. And I made that decision because I really wanted to do community-based work that was informed by the people who actually live in the community. So I'm one of those people that ride the bus and my grocery bags fall on the ground and I have to clean up in my case, it's my artichokes. And so it's been a great learning process to both be working on a research project with Dr. Wallace and the DC Heart team, as well as being able to live in the community, worship in the community, volunteer in the community, get to know some of the young people that attend Westinghouse School, get to know young people who are attending the elementary school, as well as work with some of the nonprofits that are there working in the community. So I wanted to, whoops, a little bit tech challenged. How do I go back? Trying to figure out how to go back. Let me do it right. Okay, so I'm trying to click this. Oh, I'm not doing it right. Sorry.
Stop.
I want to click here.
Oh,
There's a YouTube video.
okay.
Okay, so
We'll make it work. Yeah. Keep on talking. We'll make it
So I wanted to start out in my presentation, since you have a good idea now about the vision of the project, to really talk a little bit more about the community aspects of the project.
Make pet travel safety products. And we were thinking
Unfortunately, now YouTube videos come with commercials.
It's fine.
I want to start out with this video.
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है सर आइए सर चल चल
I hate this company. कुछ करो ना।
मैं वहाँ जाके क्या उखाड़ लूँगा?
कैसी जाने बूंदे आई जाने कैसा दर्द लाई सामने क्या है ये तेरे क्यों रुका है तू बता दे ओ कौन तुझको पार लेगा कौन होगा वो मसीहा वो जिसे तू ढूंढता है वो ही है तू वही है तुझ में तेरा रास्ता है तुझ में तेरा है सहारा तू ही तुझको पार लेगा तू ही है तेरा किनारा तुझ में तेरा रास्ता है तुझ में तेरा है सहारा तू ही तुझको पार लेगा तू ही है तेरा किनारा ढूंढता है तू ही रे तू ही
So I switched my presentation around. I was going to show this at the end, but you've already saw the vision of our project through Dr. Wallace's presentation. So I wanted to start out with this because when I moved to Homewood, the things that I heard were more about the problems. So metaphorically, people were sitting in their cars thinking about how do we move this tree? We're all stuck here. What do we need to do to move this tree? But there are people who have been willing to get out of their vehicles and put their hands on the tree and get it moving. And what we really need are more people who are thinking outside of their cars, their vehicles, that are willing to put their hands on the tree and begin moving it together. Because oftentimes when we think about community, we're not thinking about how we can have the most collective experience, bringing together all of the intellectual capital that we have at our resources, bringing together the financial capital that we have, bringing together the creative capital that we have, bringing together the social capital that we have to bear to address these problems. So the thing that I really want to focus on today is just thinking about how we can move from a paradigm that looks more like this because most of the time when we have a problem, we think of it more like hurdles. We're gonna be the athlete, we're gonna do the strength training, and we're gonna be able to be the individual person or the individual organization or the individual entity to overcome those hurdles and get to the finish line. But I think in this case, because we know we have problems that are, or challenges that are deep-rooted, challenges, many of them that have not been created by the community themselves, they're structural challenges. So we all really need to get our hands out there on the tree to begin to move this tree and push this barrier out of our way. So what has been so exciting for me about the DC Heart Project coming on board into Homewood has been the fact that there's already been a lot of people putting their hands on the tree. Dr. Wallace has been in Homewood for about 10 years working on building up the Homewood Children's Village. There are people who've been in the school systems working on trying to make the school systems better. There have been people in other nonprofits trying to do a lot of heavy lifting. But sometimes programs like that, we don't always see the changes. We don't see the trickle of students that are getting into colleges. We don't see the parents that are grateful that their children now have an after-school program. But when the DC Heart Project talked about coming and bringing solar panels, people will see solar panels in Homewood and wonder what's going on here. People will see the farm and wonder what's going on here. So here's a community where people were wondering, when is food coming into our community, because the Hill has food. They now have their own supermarket. So now, through the DC Heart Project, we initiated, as you saw in Dr. Wallace's presentation, this vision to bring on this solar-powered farm and fishery. So ideally, this will create an opportunity to also reimagine how we think about community. Because I think that it's a wonderful idea to have a farm and be able to say, community, here is food. But as you probably noted in my presentation, I'm calling it power up with the community. So I think that in order to have a community project that will truly be sustainable, we have to power up with every segment of the community. That includes parents that at this point may know absolutely nothing or care to know anything about solar panels and aquaponics. These may be gang members who can't wait for us to get everything in so that they can go and maybe do some creative artwork. So we really need to think about how can we envision a community process that is inclusive of every aspect of the community, both those who live in the community as well as those who are partnering around these projects, as well as those who are potential funders in this project, so that ultimately the community can benefit from what is being brought to the community. Many people have talked about this notion of community solar, being able to lower the cost by having a community type of solar project versus the individual pays for their own infrastructure and bring it in. I really would like to challenge us, how do we think about a community process where there's collective dividends that people who are coming into this process, whether they're homeowners or renters, that there's value that they gain from being a part of this, that the value doesn't simply go to those who have the resources to buy solar panels, but are there other ways to envision how people who are in the community can be shareholders or investors or some way getting benefit both financially. I have another slide I want to show. I came up, so I'm looking at this concept of E3. So when we think about education, we're really not just thinking about what we're sending our children out to do or experience during the day. The beauty of the outdoor classroom and the solar powered farm and fishery is that hopefully students will begin to think about how there's education waiting for them in every aspect of their life. That they will be trying to fill some of the gaps, that they themselves will be like this little boy running out and being able to put their hand on the tree because they understand something different about their community, and they want to then change the environment in their community. They want to see how their community connects with some of these other environments, whether it's India or Africa. And they also want to see how they can think beyond simply having a job, but how they fit into the economy, especially the green economy, that they might be engaged in helping to bring this green economy both to Homewood and also to other parts of Pittsburgh. So as we think about this notion of community and what are the social and community benefits, I really hope that we can expand the way we're thinking about community, the way we're thinking about education in our environment, but also the way we're thinking about the economy. Thank you.